Hello, everyone, and welcome in again to another week of our psychoeducation group for couples. Really glad that you've joined us here again, whether you're live or you're watching this later. We really appreciate you tuning in to this week's session. We have just a couple more weeks. We'll have this week, and then I believe two more after this. We're going to be looking at some trust and commitment, and then we're going to wrap it up. So we may have 3 weeks left, but probably just two more after this. So I hope you learned something. Hope it's been helpful for you, and you can go back and watch all of these videos on our Facebook and YouTube channels. So please, if you need these for future reference or anything like that, please come back and watch them and share them with others. Glad you're here today. Today we have another great topic on tap, and it's going to be looking at personal identity and dreams. So this topic is important because each of us has a personal identity we bring to the relationship and dreams for our lives. So that's what we're going to be looking at here today. So let's start by talking about personal identity here. So within any romantic relationship, right, two unique people, key is unique. The two unique people are coming together and they're forming strong bonds. That's any relationship because all people are unique, right? There are no two people who are alike, which is amazing. We have well over 8 billion people in the world. Who knows how many people have existed, before us, billions and billions of people. And there have never been two people who are the exact same, right? No two people are the exact same. We're all unique. Yes, there may be some overlap with a lot of people, but we are all unique. And so when we come into a romantic relationship, we're entering into a relationship with our own unique personality and with another person who has a unique personality. We're coming together with our unique personalities and we're forming bonds and connections within this relationship. So each person is going to bring that uniqueness into the relationship. Your own unique, maybe we say quirks, right? But it's not necessarily quirks. It's just our differences, our uniqueness. We're, again, all unique. We bring that into the relationship. It's not like, when you enter into a relationship that who you are just automatically turns off, or, we may act a little different, at the beginning in a relationship, but generally speaking, again, we're going to be carrying in our uniqueness, our identity, who we are into the relationship, right? So that's not a problem. Being different is not an issue, but how we handle being different can create problems. What I mean by that is simply this: that again, it's not an issue that we're different because everybody's different. So whenever you engage in a relationship, whether it be romantic or just a friendship, you're going to be bringing your unique personality within that relationship. That's not a problem, but there can become issues if we don't recognize our differences and appreciate our differences within a relationship. That can create problems if we're not recognizing our differences and appreciating our differences, welcoming those differences. Then problems can come up. And in my estimation, a lot of couples have problems by simply not recognizing differences. And so here's an example. This is just an example couple. All right. Just different personalities, different likes, and things like that. So partner A is extroverted, while partner B is introverted. Partner A is easygoing, but partner B is also easygoing. So there's some differences, but there's also some similarities. Partner A is highly religious. Partner B is just somewhat religious. Partner A values hard work in vocation. Maybe he's just doing the very best that you can and dealing with the results after that. Partner B values success and prestige in vocation, really wants to work up the corporate ladder and wants to have a high position. Partner A loves sports. Partner B hates sports. Partner A loves music. Partner B also loves music. Partner A is emotionally oriented, really connects with feelings. Partner B is more rationally or logically oriented. And then partner A wants multiple children. Partner B wants just one child. you see there's a lot of differences there between partner A and partner B, right? There are also some similarities. They're both easygoing, they both love music, but there's a lot of differences, right? It's not an issue that there are differences, right? That's okay that there are differences between partner A and partner B, but how are we handling those differences? Are we recognizing our differences in the relationship, and are we accommodating those differences? That's really what we're kind of looking at here today. And so here's an example, like an actual like case study of what we're talking about here. So this is a simple example here, but John is highly extroverted while Susie is highly introverted. John constantly schedules social outings for the couple, and this makes Susie uncomfortable. While at social outings, John meets new people easily and is often the life of the party, as we may say. It takes Susie quite a while to warm up and to talk to others. Most of the time, she just stands off to the side while John enjoys the outing. When at home, John gets angry with Susie. He doesn't understand why she won't just jump in there and have fun, he says. Susie gets angry with John for not sticking with her at these outings and helping her warm up when they're around others. She doesn't understand why they always have to go out. So you can see that there's a simple difference here. By the way, this is not a real case study. This is just something that I made up. But you can see that there's differences between John and Susie here. John is highly extroverted. He loves to be around people. He thrives off being around people. Susie is the exact opposite. She's introverted. She doesn't really thrive around being around people. She's maybe a little bit more to herself, maybe more keeps to herself a little bit more, and maybe likes to be alone a little bit more. Not that she's against relationships or being or having friends, but she's not going to just jump right in social outings like this around a lot of people. But you see, John is highly extroverted, so he wants these moments of connection with other people, and he thrives when around people. So he keeps scheduling these outings. But what he's not doing is he's not considering how this is going to make Susie feel. He's not considering that this may make Susie feel uncomfortable. She may feel a little bit strange being around others. In fact, she may feel anxious and stressed out in large crowds and around other people. And John's not really making room for that. And so this frustrates John when they go on an outing, and Susie is not just jumping in and not warming up quickly. So he gets mad at her and just doesn't really get it why she can't just jump in and have fun with everybody else. And she's also getting angry because she doesn't understand why they always have to go out. She's not also Susie's not making room for John's extroverted side, right? She gets angry when John wants to go out and do these things. So again, this example. There's probably a lot of things that we could say are wrong here, but one thing that we could pull out is that this couple is struggling to understand the simple differences in personality. That John is extroverted while Susie is introverted, and they're not making room for each other's personality. John is pulling Susie into situations where she feels uncomfortable. Susie is really upset at the fact that they always have to go out, and so they're not making room for each other's differences in personality, and so they need to come to understand the differences in personality and accommodate one another, compromise, and come to an understanding where maybe instead of going out on a ton of social outings, it could be just a social outings here and there, and they could maybe find a couple or two that they hang out with instead of hanging out with big crowds all the time, right? There's different solutions that they could come to. But this again is a simple example. There could be a lot of examples we could point to, but this is just a simple example of a couple not understanding the differences in personality. So I've kind of already touched on this, but many problems couples face stem simply from a lack of recognizing and appreciating the differences in each other. Right? I've had couples come in here, and some of the time they're arguing or they're talking about things in a heated manner simply because they don't understand the other's, how the other feels or how the other connects with whatever the particular situation is, right? And it's largely due to a lack of understanding the personality that partner A may feel uncomfortable while partner A may feel comfortable while partner B may feel uncomfortable in such and such a situation, or partner A might like something a lot while partner B does not, and they may clash on that. And it's simply not understanding the differences in one another and appreciating those differences. It's great that we're different and that we're diverse. That's great. We've talked about that. It's not a problem that we have differences. In fact, we should appreciate those differences and understand that our differences can actually complement one another. But many times couples just fail to understand that their their partner's personality and how that's going to play in the relationship. And there's fighting and arguing because we don't understand the differences. So it's important. This is really, really important to know one another deeply and accommodate each other. And we've talked about this so many times in um, this psychoeducation group on couples about the importance of knowing one another deeply. And so having conversations regularly, coming to know one another's personality that way, and finding out each other's likes and dislikes, finding out the extroverted nature, the introverted nature, whatever it may be, figuring those things out and then accommodating one another. So if you love sports but your partner does not, right? There can be a way where you can accommodate one another, or maybe put it this way. I found an article online on Gottman. We've talked about John Gottman a lot. Found an article online where this man said that who was writing the article works for the Gottman Institute. He was talking about how he loves soccer, and he wanted to go to a World Cup match. And finally, he was able to do that with his family. His wife, accommodated his like, and they went to a World Cup match. And this will also come into play with the dreams here in just a little bit. But if your partner loves sports and you don't, you can find ways where you can, maybe buy them a ticket to a match and go with them, buy a ticket to a game and go with them here and there. Even if it's not your cup of tea, you could still maybe do that with them and spend that time with them. And there's a lot of different things that we could use as examples. But the point is that we need to realize our differences, our personalities, and accommodate each other, compromise with one another with our differences. So here's a couple of resources, and maybe the bottom there is kind of cutting this off. Let me see if I can remove that for just a second. Yeah. So here's some personality tests. Here's just a little bit of homework for you, a little bit of something that you can do. Maybe you've done this before, but there are a lot of personality tests out there. First one I've got on there is 16personalities.com. I believe that is the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Could be wrong about that, but 16personalities.com is a really, really good personality test. You go fill out a bunch of like a questionnaire. You answer a bunch of questions, and then it's going to tell you your personality. The Enneagram test, that's something that I feel like has garnered some interest here lately. That's another good personality indicator there. The Big Five test is another one, and just go online and you can use one of these or all of these, and it'll tell you your personality. And I think that would be great for you and your spouse to do that personality test, to learn more about one another, share the results with one another, and just to find out more, and to figure out, okay, my spouse is different in this area. How can I accommodate that difference? How can I tailor my love for them in that way that's different? So this is something that you could do really easily. Is go online and find a personality test and share the results with one another, and talk about those differences, share those differences with each other, and appreciate those differences in one another. So that's something really easy you could do is just go online and fill out a personality test, share those results with one another to learn more about one another and find out ways that you can accommodate each other in your differences. So we each, again, bring our personal identity within a relationship, and that is great. We need to be bringing that uniqueness to the relationship, and we need to know one another's differences, each other's identity, and accommodate one another. So that's number one. That's kind of the first thing we wanted to talk about here. So another problems that couples can face is one or both within the relationship lacking a sense of identity. Sometimes we have people who come in for counseling and they lack a sense of who they are. Folks, lacking a sense of identity can happen in many ways. You know, traumatic experiences can definitely be a part of this, and then life changes can kind of rattle who we are sometimes. So lacking a sense of identity can be a huge problem because, folks, that is a fundamental question of life that all of us answer, that all of us have to come to terms with is, who am I? And if we can't figure out who we are, we're going to have a lot of struggles, not just within a relationship, but in life in general. And that's why a lot of people seek counseling to try to figure out who they are, to try to find out their personal identity. But that can be a problem within a relationship if one or both are struggling with their sense of identity. That can cause some problems. So here's a quote from the American Psychological Association. They say your identity gives you your sense of self. It's a set of traits that distinguishes you from other people because while you might have some things in common with others, no one else has the exact same combination of traits as you. No one else in this world is you, right? While you may have some overlap with others, there is nobody who is you to the T, right? And so your identity gives you that sense of self, who you are. And so if you're missing that, you can see how that could really um, cause some problems. And if you can't find out who you are, um, you know, your significant other might have a hard time understanding who you are, and might find it hard to help you find that sense of identity, that sense of who you are. But that can bring a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, not knowing who you are. And so this can cause problems and rifts within the relationship, some stress within the relationship. Um, and so uh, kind of along these lines, well, you know what? Let me come back to that one here in just a second. That independence continuum. I kind of got these slides out of order. Let me remove this again here. So think about building a personal identity. Well, how do we do that? Um, Number one, identify your values. Right, what we're talking about here are the deep rooted things that are important to you. What do you value most in this life? Well, maybe it's like a religion. Maybe that's something that you value a lot. Maybe you value moral principles, being kind to one another, and you know identifying your values is going to help you develop that identity, right? That's part of an identity, is what is most important to you. And again, think about if you don't realize what's most important to you, right? That's going to be hard to navigate life without knowing what is most important to you. And that can be problematic within a relationship if you don't know what's most important to you, what you value most. And that can be carried into a relationship, and you may not know what you value within a relationship the most. So building a personal identity can really start with identifying your values, what you value most in this life, what's most important to you in this life. Secondly, you identify your unique talents and gifts. And I know at this point, some people may say, well, I don't have any unique talents and gifts. And I'm here to say that you absolutely do. You absolutely do have unique talents and gifts. No two people are alike. We've hammered that in here in this this week's session already. Everybody is unique. You have unique talents and gifts. You have something that is different from everybody else. You have a talent. I believe God bestows on each of us different talents and abilities, and some are the same as other people, and many times it will be. But um, in many cases, I'm not many cases, sorry, in all cases, we all have something that we are talented in, that we are uniquely gifted in. Uh, so, and I think about it this way: like, even if you think your talent is like drawing, right? Millions of people have a good talent of drawing, but you have a unique way of drawing that sets you apart from others. You have a unique style within that that's different from everybody else, right? No two people are going to draw the exact same. So yes, there's some overlap, but even within that talent that you have, there's differences. And so identify those things that you're good at, that you're gifted in, and pursue it, right? Pursue those things, those talents, use those talents. And here's the thing: you may realize I don't, or may think I don't have talents, I don't have abilities. Well, in counseling, we can help you identify those things. We can help you pull those things out and recognize the things that you are special in, the things that you are gifted in, and try to help you use those talents in your life. Um, you also need to identify your likes and dislikes, right? Just sit down and identify, what are the things that I really enjoy doing? What are the things that I really hate doing, that I don't like doing? This is a part of your identity, the things that you like and that you dislike. That's a part of who you are. And so we all have things that we like and dislike. Go back to that sample couple that we gave. One of the things that I pointed to there was um, one of the partner A liked sports. Partner B did not like sports, right? And that's a part of who they are. Sit down and identify the things that you like and you dislike. Also, identify your goals and aspirations. And then we're going to talk more about this in just a second when we talk about dreams in life, and your goals and aspirations, things you want to achieve. Sit down and just identify, what are the things that I want to do in this life? What are the things that I want to accomplish? What have I always dreamed of becoming in life, right? And again, some of you may be sitting there thinking, wow, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know who I see myself being in 5 years or whatever. And again, in counseling, we can do that. Like, in our training within counseling, we do a class specifically on career counseling, where we try to help people identify careers that are important to them, or that they may fit with, and 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 we can also help not just with careers, but identifying the goals for your life and try to help you reach them. So there's help there. But many times, if you just sit down and you just identify those goals and aspirations, that can really help you. You'll find something that you can work toward, even if it's something small, that can help you build that sense of identity. And then lastly, being involved in something greater than yourselves can help you build that identity. For instance, I've said before that I also work in ministry, and here at Joanna Ministries, this is a ministry, right? Um, I believe that uh, I'm connected to a greater cause than myself, which is the Lord, which is God, and I believe that. That gives me a sense of purpose, of helping people, of spreading the good news of Jesus Christ to other people, and having hope of an eternal life after this life. um, I'm connected to a greater cause, and so many of you are connected to a greater cause, and that can give you a sense of identity. Like, my identity is rooted in Jesus Christ, right? I am connected to the Lord and to Jesus Christ, and that's where I find my identity, right? And I never have to waver. I know that God is with me, that God loves me, that He cares for me, that He's there for me, and that He gives me a sense of purpose in this life. And so, connect to a greater cause. And there are a lot of greater causes. Religion being, in my mind, the greatest cause. being connected to the Lord and to His church. But there are other things that you can connect to, like service opportunities and organizations that help other people, things like that. That can really help you find a sense of identity, getting outside of yourself and connecting with others or with the divine. That can really, really be helpful for building that sense of identity. Now, again, if you don't have that sense of identity, you can see how that could be really stressful, how that could be really, really something that weighs on you, and that brings some problems within a relationship. And so, finding out that personal identity is really important. And again, we can help you with that here with Joanna Snow Ministries. And there's many counselors that can help you with that. But lacking that sense of identity can bring a lot of problems within a relationship when one person doesn't really know who they are, or that identity starts to change and you're questioning. That can bring a lot of stress into the relationship, and you can maybe start to throw that onto your partner, and that can bring some stress. And so um, building a personal identity and figuring out who you are is really, really important, and being comfortable in that is really, really important. So hopefully this could help you build that sense of identity. Again, we counselors, we can help people with that. We want to help people with that. So let me go back a slide now. Kind of along this line, I don't know, I was a little hesitant about putting this in here, but I think it does fit. This kind of can be a part of a personality. And this goes back to those attachment styles. That's why we started with that weeks ago. I think 5 or 6 weeks ago now, we talked about attachment styles. And this kind of is along those lines of attachment. Within a relationship, sometimes, well, let me just start it this way. I have kind of thought about relationships kind of on an independence continuum, is what I call it. And so on one side of the continuum, you have fully reliant, somebody who is fully reliant on their partner and can't really separate from them. They fully rely on them. And when they're away from them, they're stressed out, they're anxious. That would kind of be that anxious attachment style. On the other side, you have somebody who is fully independent, that they don't really rely on their partner. They don't let their partner rely on them. They are completely independent, and they thrive on being alone, things like that. That would kind of be the more avoidant attachment style. We want to be somewhere in the middle, where we can be reliant on one another, but we also have some independence, that we rely on one another, and we allow our significant other to rely on us, but we also are comfortable being alone at times. We're comfortable being independent as well. We're not so engulfed in our partner, where we're anxious all the time about where they are, what they're doing, and anxious that that they may cheat on us or something like that. Like, we give some independence to our partner. We have some independence ourselves, while also relying on our partner, while also being comfortable giving in the relationship, and having our partner give to us. Like, that's where we want to be, is there in the middle, where we're reliant on our partner, but also have independence and feel comfortable being independent. What ends up happening sometimes is, and then this is where I think the personality part comes in, is that one partner might start becoming so reliant on their significant other, and might honestly attach so much of themselves to their partner, where they start finding their identity in their significant other. Like, that's who they are, is um, the husband or wife of their partner, right? And that's, they become fully reliant upon their partner for who they are. And that can be a problem, because there's more to you than being a husband or a wife, or a partner, right? Let me say this: that is a huge part of who you are. It's a very important part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. And identity encompasses a ton of things. Like, you might be a Christian, a mother, or a father, a husband, a wife, a child, a sibling, right? There's a lot of different things that consume that make up your identity. And so, but what can happen is sometimes in a relationship, someone can become so engrossed in the relationship that they become fully reliant on that partner, and that's how they see their sense of identity is within that relationship. And then if something happens, there's a breakup or something like that, then it's just completely devastating, right? And I'm not saying you can't be devastated by a breakup. You should be if you're in a relationship, but um, we don't want to be so engulfed in the relationship where that's really all that matters to us. That's all that we can think about ever, and we don't have any independence, right? Where we don't have anything else that we find identity in aside from the relationship. That can be an issue. And again, I am not saying that relationships are not important and that we can't rely on others. We need to. That is so very important. But we can get to a point where we are so reliant, where we are so engulfed in a relationship where we have problems detaching from that and seeing ourselves outside of that relationship. And so we want to get to a point where we're in the middle, where we can be reliant on somebody, but we're also independent, where we're also okay apart from our significant other, and we trust them and they trust us, right? That's where we want to get to, is a healthy mix of reliance and independence. And so I don't want to touch on this too much, but we can get to a point where we get into a codependent relationship, and a codependent relationship is a really lopsided relationship where one is really, really relying on the other, and the other just keeps on giving to this reliant partner. And it's a very unhealthy relationship that can cause a lot of problems. Again, I don't want to dive too much into that right now, but that's kind of along these lines here on this independence continuum, if you will. Um, and so I guess what I'm saying is that there can be a problem if one in the relationship, or even both, are so engulfed in the relationship and that they don't see anything else about themselves outside of that relationship. Again, your relationship needs to be a big part of who you are, and it should be one of the most important parts of who you are. But there are different parts of you as well, and we need not neglect those things. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. And again, attachment styles sometimes come in here, anxious attachment style. Those are the people who are afraid of being abandoned, and they're constantly maybe checking in on their partner, constantly worried about where the relationship is headed, and they're kind of always engulfed in the relationship, and that's all that's on their minds ever. And when things go awry, it's really, really devastating for them. And we want to work to where we can get to being reliant on someone, but also independent. The other side of things is the avoidant, where people are almost fully independent, and they're afraid of that commitment. But here's the thing: it's okay to commit, and that's where we want to get to, where we can commit and also be a little bit independent. Hope that makes sense. Hope I didn't confuse you there, but I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, and hopefully that's helpful. So let me just kind of sum this up before we get into life dreams. What we talked about so far is um, that our identity, we bring a unique identity into a relationship. And there can be problems within a relationship if we are not recognizing the differences in one another, our different personalities, our uniqueness. And there can also be an issue if we don't find any other sense of identity outside of the relationship. We are so engulfed that that's all we can think about, all that we can ever, um, uh, you know, attach ourselves to, is that relationship. Because we have to realize that there are some different parts to our identity outside of the relationship. um, and so also, there could be a problem with not having a sense of identity, or struggling with your sense of identity. And so we talked about some tips for building a personal identity. So along these lines of building a personal identity are our dreams, our goals for life. So everyone has goals, dreams, and aspirations for life. We all have things, whether we realize it or not. We all have things that we want to accomplish in life. We all want to have a successful life, right? Whether we realize it or not, we all want to be successful and meet certain goals and dreams in our lives. That's just part of it. And we carry those things into the relationship. This is a part of our identity as well. You know, the things that we want to achieve and things that are important to us to meet in life. Everyone has these things. So here's the thing, our life dreams might be different from our partner's life dreams. The goals, aspirations, things that we want to achieve in life might be, and most of the time are, at least a little bit different from our partners. But we must find a way to make each other's dreams come true. And that's what we want to finish talking about here is we need to come to know, what does my partner want to achieve in life? What does my partner dreamed about becoming in life? And we need to help them meet that. We need to help them get them to that point. Folks, these things, these dreams and aspirations and goals are deep parts of us, right? These are things that are really attached to our values too. Like, what are the things that are most important to us? And so if you're not meeting those for one another, that's really disappointing. That can be hard. And so we need to make a way to make one another's life dreams come true. All right. So this is from Gottman.org, from a writer on Gottman.org, Ellie Lasitsa. She says this: Dr. John Gottman discovered that many of the seemingly pointless and frustrating issues are anything but insignificant. In other words, the arguments, the disagreements that you have are anything but insignificant, because in truth, they're rooted in your deepest and most meaningful dreams, hopes, and desires for your own life, as well as the life that you share together. To sum that up, basically what Dr. John Gottman says, what Ellie Lasitsa sums up here, John Gottman's work, she sums that up, is basically that a lot of the disagreements that we have, a lot of the arguments and conflicts that we have are actually rooted in our life dreams. That our dreams and aspirations, the things that we want to accomplish in life, the places we want to get to in life, they clash with our partners, right? And even subconsciously, we might not even realize that that's kind of what's underneath the presenting issue. But we may not even realize it, but that's really what we're arguing about, or that's really what's underneath the root, is that our life dreams, our goals in life are kind of clashing. And our dreams about our lives individually and our dreams about our lives together as a couple may clash. And sometimes that, again, that happens consciously, sometimes that happens subconsciously. But those are a lot of times how the a lot of disagreements and things come up in a relationship, is these life dreams not being met or not being fulfilled. That's where some of these problems can come up. So um, couples must make dreams come true for one another. So we're going to talk about in just a second how we can make our life dreams come true for our significant other. What are some things that we can do to help our significant other, our partner, meet their goals, their aspirations in life, these things that they've dreamed for years, the things that they've longed to accomplish? How can we help them get there, right? So here's some examples of what your life dreams may be. Okay, partner A wants to go back to school to earn a degree. All right, well, how can you help your partner get to that point where they're earning, that they can earn that degree? Partner B wants a custom built home on several acres. They've always dreamed of having this dream home. How can you make that happen for them? Partner A wants to send their kids to private school. It's always been a dream of theirs to have their kids in a private school and private education, right? Well, how can you make that happen? Partner B wants to own their own company one day, right? And this is just a small list. Like, our dreams can be big things, but they can also be things that are just kind of simple, right? Like, there was an example, I think, on John Gottman's website, and it was like, one partner wants to paint the restroom yellow. Like, they've always wanted to have a yellow restroom. That's something easy. And so it could be things that are simple, and also be things that are a little bit more complicated and bigger, right? But the point is, we have to be able to get to a point where we can help each other get to the things that we want to accomplish in life. So, we all want to achieve our goals, right? That's what we've been talking about. We all have these things that we want to achieve, that we want to get to. But if we're not supported by our partner, it's going to be difficult to attain those goals, and we're going to feel tied down, right? So just imagine if your partner, like you have this big goal in life, like one of those examples that we just had, even if it's a small goal in life, doesn't have to be big necessarily, but just let's just take well, we're actually going to look at an example here in just a second, so I won't jump to that. But if you're not, just imagine not feeling supported by your partner in whatever endeavor you're undertaking in life, right? That's going to be disappointing, right? That's going to be difficult to reach that goal if you don't have the support of your partner, right? That's going to be disappointing. It's going to be hurtful, maybe even, that your partner not supporting you in that. And it's going to be, you may feel tied down, right? You may feel like, I'm never going to achieve this because my partner won't let me, or like is hindering me, or is not supporting me in this endeavor, right? And we all want people, the people that we love, to support us and the things that we undertake in life, right? Like we want our partner to be there and to support us in whatever we want to accomplish. So if that's not there, it's going to be difficult to attain those goals and those dreams. And there may be some resentment tied to that as well. So here's an example. This is kind of an example of what I was just talking about. Okay, about not being supported by your partner with your life dreams. So Tommy and Rachel have 3 kids. For several years, Rachel has been a stay-at-home mom, but the kids are now old enough to go to school. So Rachel has always dreamed of being a nurse, but never completed her degree. Now that the kids are in school, she wants to complete her degree and work her way to becoming a nurse. When telling Tommy about her plans, Tommy quickly disagreed and said that it was a waste of time and money for Rachel to pursue nursing at this point in her life. Rachel felt unheard and disregarded by Tommy. And anytime this conversation was brought up, it sparked sharp arguments. Right. This again is just an example of this, again, not a real example. I made this up, but Rachel here has been a stay-at-home mom, had kids, and probably likely that the having kids kind of derailed her from completing her degree, possibly. And she's always dreamed of being a nurse, and she so desperately wants to pursue that. That's been something that she has dreamed of since she was a kid, right? Think about that. Having a dream, something that you have longed to do all of your life, and then to have Tommy come in and say, that's a waste of time and money, right? That hurts, right? That hurts to have the closest person to you, your spouse, to come in and say, yeah, that's just a waste of time and money. You can't do it, right? That has to be hurtful. And so, right there in the case example, Rachel, she felt unheard and she felt disregarded, right? Almost like thrown to the side by Tommy because she didn't want to do this. Because he didn't want her to do this, rather. Sorry. And so that makes sense, right? That makes sense to feel unheard and disregarded if your significant other is not going to support you in something that you have long held as a value, as something that you wanted to attain. And so anytime this conversation come up, they argued about it because their dreams were clashing. Clearly, if we kept going, and if this was a real couple, we were seeing them in counseling, Tommy has some type of underlying reason why he doesn't want her to do this. Maybe it's money, right? He doesn't want her to, and well, really, it kind of is there in the case study. He says it's a waste of time and money. So he clearly values, that their time and their money. So there's things there that are important, time and money, but also completely disregarding his wife's desire to be a nurse. Really cause some strife in the relationship and cause some difficulty in the relationship. Now, let me be careful and say this. Making life dreams come true doesn't look like saying, hey, I want to go skydiving, so you have to let me do it, right? There are some things, obviously, that are, out of proportion and just aren't realistic. And so that's not really what we're talking about here. There are some things that simply you may not be able to reach, right? There may be some things that this is not something that you use to hang over your significant other's head, right? Like, okay, you have to do this for me because this is my dream. If it truly is your dream, right, to go skydiving, okay, well then yes, there's a way to work that out. But there are some things that are unrealistic, and this is not just a means to say, all right, well, I can just do whatever I want to, and my spouse has to okay it. No, there are some things that may not be realistic, that may not be helpful to the relationship. So those type of things are not the things that we're talking about. We're talking about the deep rooted things that you've really always dreamed of doing, the goals you want to meet in life. That's kind of what we're talking about here. And so you can imagine if those things aren't met, and in fact, if you're being hindered or unsupported by your spouse, that's going to be hard to reach those goals. It's going to cause strife and difficulty in the relationship. And so again, we all want to achieve our goals, and if we're not supported by our partner, it's going to be difficult to reach those goals, and we'll feel tied down or unheard or unseen. So couples must support and help their partner reach their goals, their life goals and aspirations, right? Again, there are some things that may not be realistic, but for the most part, we need to be helping our partner reach their goals and supporting them along the way. Whatever we can do to support them along the way, we need to do that. Right? Again, think about the goals, the things that you've always dreamed of doing. They're a part of who we are. They are a deep part of who we are and what we want to achieve in life. And so imagine not being able to do that. That's difficult. That would lead to some stress and sadness probably. And so we need to help one another reach those long-standing goals and aspirations in our lives. So to close out, this is the last slide here. What does making life dreams come true look like? Well, number one, it's identifying your partner's life dreams. All right. What you have to do first and foremost is come to realize, what even are my partner's life dreams? What even are their goals, their dreams, their aspirations for life? Right? Do you know that about your partner? Are you sure about what they want to achieve in life, who they want to become? Do you know those things? If you do, great. If you don't, sit down and identify those things with your partner. What are the things that you want to achieve in life? Right? And like sometimes what can happen is we go through life trying to get ahead, maybe in our personal lives, our individual lives, and we don't consider our partner and what their goals are, what their aspirations are. And so identifying those life dreams are really important. And here's the thing, you may think you know, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know your partner's deepest aspirations and dreams. So identify those. Number two, devise a plan to make those dreams come true, right? Some of the dreams and goals and aspirations we have, they might be difficult to attain. And many times they are, but they're not impossible. But you might have to sit down and think about some ways to achieve those dreams. You might have to think about, okay, how are we going to make this work financially? How are we going to make this work logistically? How are we going to make this work with our time? Right? You might have to sit down and devise an actual plan. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this by A, B, C, and D, right? Brainstorm ideas of how you can make those dreams come true. And here's what you do. If you sit down with your spouse and try to help them devise a plan to make their dreams come true, that shows that you're interested. That shows that you care, that you really want to make it true for them, right? And that can be so helpful for the relationship. Then number three, once you've done that, you help them achieve their dreams. Whatever you can do to help them achieve their dreams, that's going to be really important, right? Maybe it's finding ways just to here and there help them, right? Like maybe your significant other wants to start a company, and so maybe that's okay. Hey, I'm good with bookkeeping. I'll help you keep the books for your company, or I'll help the advertising for the company. And there's endless examples here, but it's the thing, whatever you can do, little things here and there to help your partner achieve their dreams. Maybe it's giving them a little bit of time when they come home to work on whatever it is that they need to work on, if it's a part of their dream. Helping your partner achieve those dreams. It's little things, it can be big things. It's being active and helping them achieve their dreams. And then finally, it's being supportive even if you have reservations. Let's be honest, there may be some things that you don't agree with, right? There may be some things that you're just kind of like, I don't know about this, honey. Like, I don't know if we can do this, but it's still, you know what? It may be hard, it may be difficult. I may not agree with it fully, but I'm going to support you. And if this is really what you want to do, if this is really the route you want to go, then I'm going to be there beside you and I'm going to push you and I'm going to push you in and I'm going to support you in it. Go back to that example, right? Instead of Tommy saying that's a waste of time and money, he could have said, you know what? We're really tight on money right now, and where are we going to get the time with the kids and my job, what, how are we going to do this? But you know what, we can figure out a way, right? And if this is really what you want to do, then I'm committed to making it work. Even if there's that little reservation or hesitation, it's still supporting them in that and showing that support, and being asking them questions about their dreams and asking them how it's going and achieving those dreams, right? Supporting them in it and cheering them on in those dreams. That's what it looks like to make those life dreams come true. So that's really, really important to make those life dreams come true. So this is all again about our identity. We carry these things into the relationship with somebody else? Do we know these things about one another? Are we trying to accommodate one another? Are we trying to make these dreams come true? That's really what we talked about today. Hope it was helpful, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a great, great weekend or great day whenever you're watching this. But thank you again. We'll see you next week, and look forward to another week in our